Dear Melissa, I was hired a few years ago by the CEO of a company to build a suite of software offerings at a company that historically built whatever the customer asked for. Since then, a new CTO that only has experience leading engineering teams has been hired, and product management has been moved under this role. I built the team from the ground up to have a product strategy leader for each offering and product managers with various levels of skill sets reporting to a group lead for each offering. We also have peer user experience and technical communications, product documentation, teams under product management. My goal was to remove the stigma of the product owner mentality of only focusing on current or next sprint designs and to promote constant market research before making decisions on what to build, leading to faster career progression opportunities for all product managers. I recently found out that the CTO has decided the product management team will be split between strategy under product management, me, and product owners, and user experience under software engineering. I'm afraid the product managers will be reprioritized to only focus on internal work and not support broader customer or market needs, leading to an output-focused organization bent on building product for product's sake and not for our customers. How can I turn this into good for the product managers, now product owners? And how would you suggest I try to convince my leadership that this will drive an output mentality rather than an outcome mentality, considering I don't have any data about how the future will play out regarding the future team and product outcomes? Are there other opportunities that you can see come from this sudden change in organizational structure? So this one kind of reeks of a little bit of agile methodologies coming over good product management. I think one of the questions to ask is, why did the CTO get buy-in to make this shift? A lot of times organizational change doesn't come just because a new CTO walks in. It's because they're telling some kind of narrative to the CEO to get buy-in, to move everybody around. So here's where I would ask, what made them think that they needed to shift this all under engineering and then leave you with just product management? What's been the trend? What's been the outcomes in the organization? What have you been observing? Is it a political play? What are they saying about you? That's really what I would dig into. Now, on the change in general, this feels a lot like a land grab to get more ownership by the CTO. A lot of CTOs who have experience only with agile development would make the shift and try to move product owners underneath them. They see product owners usually as more of an engineering function, right? What do the engineers work on? Which is just order taking, right? That's just backlog management. That's not putting all the market research that you talked about in there. Now, I don't believe you should have split the product strategy and the product management out to begin with. And that's where there's some struggle there. They're now saying, hey, do the product strategy stuff and ship it off to the product owners and then they'll go build it. That's a little strange, right? That's getting us into waterfall. That's not really being very agile. That's also saying that the product owners won't have a lot of experience doing strategic work, and that's going to be a lack of a career path for them to get better at their career. This is why I always advocate that no matter what level product manager you are, if you're working on teams, whether you're a CPO, you need to have some kind of strategic role on your day-to-day things. So that means that a lower level product manager working with a team is understanding strategy and vision for a smaller scope, like a feature or an area of the product. When you go up, you're doing strategy for something bigger. You go up, you're doing more strategy, less tactical work. That's how we see it in most Silicon Valley companies. That's how we see it out there in any company that's really good at building software. So when you do this shift and start to move things around and put them under technology, I don't think it's going to end up well, because you're not going to be connecting that market side back to the software side, unless the CTO is extremely commercially minded. But the fact that they didn't want to move product strategy over makes me wonder if they are commercially minded. Now, for the product owners, the best thing that you could do is still involve them in strategic decisions. Consult them, bring them along for the ride, make sure they're still involved in customer research, make sure they really have a deep understanding of why they're building what they're building so that they don't get locked into waiter mode. On your end, though, I think you're going to have to try to figure out how do you plug back into the delivery side so that you can see the outcomes go all the way through. You're going to be assessing and figuring out where to go from a product strategy perspective, but you want to make sure they get built and prioritized. And it sounds like the CTO is taking that prioritization away from you. So all you can do really is supply now the product owners with research, but they're going to be making the strategic decisions. Where does the roadmap live? Who makes the priorities there? These are all questions that I would have. One thing that you could do here, I think, is turn to other companies and see what they're doing. There's a lot of literature out there about how to actually structure product management teams. And you want to show that this is not actually the way that most teams are structured. They're usually structured under a product management function. And there's a lot of reasons why we do that. Career pathing, job descriptions, keeping strategy aligned. If you separate out what we're building from how we think about what should be built, then you're going to get a disconnect in there and it's going to be mini waterfalls. You're going to have a lot of documentation. It won't go as fast. There'll be no ownership over what you build. So I'd really try to clarify those roles and responsibilities and try to show how inefficient and how ineffective this might be. And I would draw on experiences from other companies, go out there, find some literature on it to show why this shift really wouldn't be working. So that's what I would look at there. I would point to companies that the leaders of the company feel like are good, that they're doing it well, and then show them how they do product management. Can you talk to some PMs there? Can you find literature about how they do it? And show that you're not really aligned to that. But again, go back to my first question and ask, why did this change happen in the first place? Because when you start to understand those reasons, a lot of times they're political, but maybe they're looking at this and saying, hey, I don't think they're performing, or this is not happening, or I'm not seeing the results that I actually expected from this product management team. You need to be able to figure out what battles to fight before you go to make your case. And you have to figure out why this was made in the first place. Once you figure that out, then you can figure out how to fight it. Some of it may have been untruthful, what was told, or there may have been reasons around that. But I'd really work on communicating up here, understanding the lay of the land, and really understanding what were the reasons behind this. And hopefully that helps set you in the right direction.